on Divorce Court today. What happens to a family when a man wants to divorce one sister in order to marry another? Lee and Asia know the answer because he wants to dump her, marry her sister Talia, and the whole mess started on a chat line. Lee Whitcomb and Asia Whitcomb have brought their dispute for Judge Lynn Toler to resolve. Testimony in Divorce Court starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is a full plate of tacky with a side of hot mess. I'm going to tell you what it is. And then you're going to tell me how it got that way.
All right.
Mr. Whitcomb, you are married to Ms. Whitcomb. Ms. Whitcomb, this is your sister, Talia Maryland.
Yes.
You divorcing her to marry her.
Yeah.
How'd we get there, Mr. Whitcomb?
Well, I met Asia and Talia about 12 years ago through a chat line. Asia had showed up with her sister. When I initially saw her sister, I knew I was physically attracted to her, wanted to get to know her and stuff like that. But I felt like I was already committed to, since Asia came by, I was already committed to, talking with her and finding out about, where that would go or whatever. So, we talked and, we were together for a couple years. Eventually, we ended up getting married.
Hang on. It sounds like a very noble thing to do, is saying, the woman that I was talking to on the chat line showed up, but I felt compelled to talk to her, even though the sister that came along, well, for security, I'm sure, because you meet a guy you don't know, you bring somebody else, case it goes sideways, that you continue to pursue a relationship with her out of a sense of honor?
I would say, yeah. I didn't want to hurt her feelings since she already had came to see me or whatnot.
Look where it brought you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think her feelings are hurt today?
Oh, I'm sure they are, and I've apologized for it.
Ms. Whitcomb, is that generally an accurate version of what occurred?
Yes, all that, but we met them with 4 guys. He was with 3 other gentlemen. My sister ended up with 2 of those other guys, and then eventually his brother.
His brother?
His brother.
And I said a side attack. Full big. We got an entire buffet of ratchetness going on down here. Low down, classless, tacky. Oh my goodness.
And just to answer your question, I am not sad about this situation. I'm not.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Why did you marry Mr. Whitcomb?
Because
were you really in love? Was he the guy you thought he was?
Well, the 19-year-old self that I was, I thought I was. I did love him.
But you say he was a total loser when you met him.
Yeah, he was.
In what respect?
Not much better now. Well, he was living with his mom and, didn't finish school. And back then, I thought I could change him to make him a better person. Not
we
for
women
me.
do that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
We
I know better now.
rescuing people and all that kind of stuff. You can't marry hope. You have to marry a man.
Yes, I understand that.
And you get the guy you pick, not the one you believe you can turn him into.
Yes.
So that. But 19, I'm gonna forgive you for that.
Okay.
I'm gonna forgive you for
Thank
that. What I don't understand is you weren't attracted to her. You liked her sister. I can understand being polite to her during the initial meeting because you were talking to her on the phone. Right. But after that, you call, hey, it's not what I thought, and then go call her. What possessed you to marry her?
She was right. I was a nobody or whatnot. I didn't have anything. Ended up getting kicked out because I came from a broken home and all that. But she did change me. Her family did change me. I went and got my GED.
You got in with a better group of people?
Yeah.
And they showed you a better way?
Yeah. Yeah.
And in response, you dumped this woman and take the other one?
Well, things changed,
How did they change?
She wasn't as supportive as I thought she would be. It turned that it was her family, her mom and her dad, that was really the ones that were, telling me that I could change myself, I could be a better person.
So since it was the family in general, any sister will do?
No.
Our older sister has enough sense.
I don't want anyone to think that I was sister hopping or anything like that. I definitely it was a marriage of convenience.
This marriage was a marriage of convenience?
Yeah.
Not for me, for him, apparently.
Well, obviously, yeah. But she just stopped. She stopped caring or whatnot. She stopped taking care of herself, taking care of the home. Especially after, her mother had passed away and we ended up getting the house and stuff like that. She just let everything go, including herself.
Ms. Whitcomb, do you acknowledge at all kind of that you deflated at some point in time and ceased to be fully engaged in the marriage?
I do. I do.
Okay.
Because I was depressed that my mom had passed away. But when we had our daughter, because our daughter's first birthday, my mom passed away 2 weeks later. So I was, kind of, thank you. I was kind of in depression, and our relationship wasn't going well. And, he wasn't there like I needed him to be there.
I got you.
So I just stopped, I took care of my daughter. The house wasn't always clean, but it never is when you have a toddler running around. But, he stopped caring, so I stopped caring.
I got you.
Next, what shameful secret did Talia keep from Asia about what happened the day before her sister's wedding? Are your in-laws all up in your business and destroying your marriage? Call toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or visit our website at divorcecourt.com. Become a fan at facebook.com/divorcecourt. Real people, real conflict, real judgments. Divorce Court continues.
She says you weren't supportive in her time of need. Do you acknowledge that you may have been a little less caring and compassionate than you could have been?
I mean, I probably could have been more compassionate, but without having a steady male role model until I met her father, I was doing what I saw him do, which was go to work, and bring the money home while her mother, took care of the household. Okay. And I thought
Ms.
we could
Marilyn,
make it like
when
that.
you come in, is this around the time when Ms. Marilyn crept back into your consciousness?
It was actually before all this.
How long before?
Like a year and a half, 2 years afterwards. But she had always been on my mind. I had always been.
You would never stop thinking about her.
Exactly.
Judge.
Yes.
Excuse me. Okay. She would come over for holidays or, just come over. Can you get her out of the house? I cannot stand her. Why did you marry him? I cannot stand him. They hated each other for all these years.
Is that accurate? Ms. Marilyn, I'm going to ask you, is that an accurate picture of how you two engaged, or was that just a clever ruse on your part?
Well, there was a subconscious layer there because I told myself that it was off limits to be with your sister's husband, or even when we originally met them.
Or anybody's husband.
Yes, for that matter, a whole nother show. any of that.
As a side note.
I said, he's for my sister. They're together. I was actually with his ex-best friend for 10 years. We never got officially married, but we were pretty much common law married in the state we live in. And so I said, no, he's off limits. For 8 years, I didn't look him in the eye. So yes, I would go over for holidays and birthdays.
When did you two start inappropriately touching one another?
Well, that actually goes right before they got married. I tried to tell her how he had come on to me years before, and she chose to believe him because he denied it. I was with my mom. My mom was still living at the time. The day before their wedding, she chose to believe him, and she chose him over me.
Why didn't you, sometime before the day before your marriage, kind of sit her down, tug her coattail, and say, hey, I don't think this is cool?
Oh, I did, because he also had, as far as how we were raised to be all kinds of Destiny Child independent women. That's how my parents raised us. Don't depend on no man to take care of you, this, that, and the other. She was obviously out to lunch during those conversations because she got with him with baggage. He already had 4 kids with 2 other baby mamas, and so I was like, he's off limits. Let's go. Let's
You're
leave.
telling me that she was out to lunch when your parents were telling her to be independent and don't go with a loser, and now you're picking up that loser that you're telling her she shouldn't have been in the first
I
place.
understand that.
When Divorce Court continues, did Dahlia's failure to learn the lessons about dignity and loyalty lead to a trip to jail?
Lee left Asia to marry her sister. Do you think a relationship like that can work? Call 1-800-282-1991 to vote now and see if America agrees with your opinion. You'll also receive some valuable offers. Call now.
If you would like your case heard on Divorce Court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com and join the conversation on Twitter at Divorce Court. Divorce Court continues.
Explain that. I mean, is it that she's done all the hard work, fixed him up, pulled him out of the loser category, so now he's worthy of you since she's done the hard work to get him where he needs to be?
That's actually not it at all. Also, what my parents taught us is to, as far as in life, be happy. Be happy doing what you want to do and being who you want to be with. I've always worn the pants and the skirt in a relationship. I'm educated. Like I said, we were in the same classes together. That's how we linked back up. She wanted to play a role that my mom did play. As he was saying earlier, my mom took care of my dad as far as taking care of house and home. That means your man, your house, and then, your children. Making sure everything's good for when your man comes home. That's how we were raised. She was obviously, again, out to lunch during that time frame because
you know, she was out to lunch. She was out to lunch when my parents taught me this. Did your parents teach you about dignity? Did your parents teach you about loyalty? Did your parents teach you about fidelity and life and family? Were you out to lunch when they said be a good person? Were you out to lunch when you said don't screw another person's husband? Were you out to lunch when you say put family first? You should be at least a little ashamed. You should be at least a little embarrassed. And on top of that, when you take somebody else's husband, don't point at her and say she lost her husband because she was out to lunch when my parents were teaching her the right lessons.
But
That's just
she would
so
never
rude.
he would never been her husband. I understand. And I totally understand. When he first came to me, I said, they're going to blame me. As far as me being the sister, I'm the one that should know
You know
better.
why? We're blaming you? Because you're wrong.
Right.
But the marriage was already over.
And I knew that when he came to me.
Reversed and her husband came to me, I'm like, you better get away from me.
And I
You're
did
my
for
sister's
years.
husband.
I didn't look him in the eye for
but
8
eventually
years.
you gave in, so it doesn't matter.
Because
Mr. Whitcomb, let me ask you a question.
All right.
How is your relationship with the remainder of this family, given your change of allegiance here?
Well, the older sister, of course, dislikes me because of the whole situation.
Oh, she never liked you before that.
Which I'm not worried about. But the main person I wanted to talk to was the father or whatnot, and I did, you know, with.
He don't like you either.
And what did he say?
He was like, as long as you guys are happy, and I take care of my children.
And have you been taking care of your children?
You won't let
Ms.
her see
Whitcomb,
them.
now, I'm giving you a little leeway because they did you ratchet and wrong, but you're gonna have to let me
Okay,
handle this
I
for
will.
you, okay?
Yeah.
So do you take care of your children?
When she allows it. When she allows it.
Yeah, when she allows it, because the thing is like I was recently put on child support. I was giving her, you know, money orders and stuff like that. But I haven't been coming by just because of the situation, because she has a new fella that I've heard, or she kind of insinuated she was talking before I even left.
So big deal. What's that got to do with you not seeing the kids?
She won't let us.
It's the situation now, you know. It's always a fight.
Do
It's
you
always
not let
name-calling.
him see children? And I'm gonna hop on you about that if that's true.
That is not the case. He has not. She's been put in jail for beating him up
Wow.
a few times this year.
Incorrect.
Are you serious?
Incorrect.
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 No.
Did you go to jail this year?
I was there when they.
So the
hauled
answer
her
is
off.
yes. What was the charge?
It was assault cohabitant because we did have a place together. But the thing is, because he does have a conscience and I do as well, the bites would stem from her texting and putting things in his mouth as far as, you want to get back with the family and Talia's holding me here.
So
and I just
nothing
want-
you do is, no matter how ratchet or wrong, even if it's an arrestable offense, it's not your fault. It's her fault.
Exactly.
It's her fault for being weak. It's her fault for
It's just easy to
being
play
hurt.
victim for some people.
No, I'm not playing victim.
Judge Lynn Toler's ruling next. Divorce Court. Judge Lynn Toler's ruling right now.
Before I get done with this thing, I'm going to ask you, Ms. Whitcomb, you came here, and I'm sure this is general principle money. I get that, and I understand that. But and I'll award it if it's appropriate. You want $300 to cover his porn bill. Explain that to me.
Wow.
I was in the hospital having our first daughter. So he takes off like pretty much almost as soon as she's born. And about 3 weeks later, I get our cable bill in. They had to have a separate page of all the porn movies that he had watched.
Mr. Whitcomb, what is your version of that event?
Yeah, I did order porn movies, but it wasn't no $300. But we didn't even have a sex life, and that was one of the reasons why.
Then
I
how
got-
did we have a baby?
No, I'm
she
talking
was-
about
she
before
just had
that.
a baby.
I'm talking about before that. I'm talking about after that. You know, we didn't even have a sex life, so it wasn't no $300. But I could come up in here and start asking for all kinds of
Because
bills
he was like,
that she
hey,
ran
you want to
up
give me some?
How
I'm like,
old is
no.
your daughter?
She just turned 6 on Friday.
Okay.
No birthday
okay,
present,
okay.
by the way.
I got you.
But
You suffer the sin you sow, Mr. Whitcomb and Ms. Maryland, and I assume that you're going to suffer greatly at some future date. I don't know if he's going to find somebody else more attractive than you. I don't know if you're going to pop him in the head and go to jail. I don't know what's going to go on. But, Ms. Maryland, I would ask you to do this. I have this rule called the rule against teching. And teching is when you find in the whole existence of your sin and your failures and your faults and your wrong, you can find one little thing that you can attribute to somebody else, and you assert that absent that little wrong, all my great sin would not have happened. I asked you not to tech anymore. You have to face what you've done, or else it's going to fall all over you. You can't keep claiming grand greatness, goodness when you're doing the wrong thing. You
Thank
just
you.
can't. You should feel humbled and low and sad, and you should feel tacky and wrong and bad, and you should move on. But let me tell you something, you let that man see those kids. As long as he's a good
Yes.
father.
He's not, though. He's not.
Oh. Be a better man, Mr. Whitcomb. I don't know what's going on. So far, you showed up a jerk in here, right? Yeah. So far, you showed up a guy who does what he needs above what other people need. And to me, normally, that does not indicate good father material. You may have a piece of you separated out to be good, and you assert that for your children. That may very well be true, and I hope so. Yeah. I hope so, because
I just don't feel bad. I know she's my soulmate, and I am going to marry her. She's my best friend.
I got you. I know you don't feel bad. Attila the Hun never felt bad either. 6 years ago, he did too much porn. I can't tag him right now. I wish you'd have found something else, because I sure would have loved to give you some money, but I can't. Let him see those kids, be a better man, and find a conscience somewhere. There will be no recovery in this matter. This matter is adjourned.
Asia appreciates the judge's ruling and is happy to move on from her marriage with Lee. Post a comment or submit your case at divorcecourt.com or call toll-free 1-877-311-2222. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Divorce Court.